Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday Tea Time on a Wednesday evening for St Andrew's Golf Magazine. Um, we had to move it because I was travelling this week. I'm at home in the south of England right now, and I'll be travelling to Germany on Saturday evening. So we've had to change it to tonight. But it fits really well with the middle of the week. The Women's Open starting tomorrow, and we're going to look back at the US Open last week and see how that impacts our view on what the ladies are going to do this week. Obviously, last week, Martin Keimer, an incredible display of golf, very rarely witnessed by anybody I can think of, really. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, but then Rory McIlroy, there was 20 players under par. Congressional, which was slightly softer.
Yeah.
And you look at Pinehurst, and nobody gave anybody a chance of shooting level par. So it's an incredible performance and one which certainly is among the best ever seen, I think.
Yeah, it was a great U.S. Open. It didn't get as high a ratings here in the U.S. as one might have expected, but if Tiger's not there, the the casual golf fans don't tune in. Plus we're up against the World Cup,
Yeah.
starting, and that certainly had to have an impact. The NBA playoffs were last week. They finally finished up, and the NHL finished up. So I think it was just 1 week too soon.
Yeah, and also, I mean, as you said, no, if it had been Tiger Woods doing this, we would never have heard the end of it.
Yeah, if Tiger
the
would have
media
been there,
kind
if Tiger would have been there, it probably would have been a little better on the ratings. But him not even being there, some people just don't even tune in.
No, but it shouldn't detract really from the enormity of the performance when you think that, okay, at the start, it looked like quite a few players were going to finish the week under par, but the course gradually got harder and harder, and then 3 players under par. I mean, it's an amazing score, really.
Well, I thought the USGA took pity on him Sunday, and actually, Sunday was much better than Saturday. Saturday was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Uh, Saturday was horrible, but Martin Keimer seemed to get through it. He propelled on through it, and I mean, he made a mess out of the fourth hole, and then turns around and absolutely tore apart the fifth hole for an eagle there, and I think I think right there is where the tournament turned. I watched I forget who it was on the Golf Channel yesterday morning saying, right there when he got in trouble on 4 and then got in trouble again on 5 and actually hit out of the native area up there and made the eagle, that's where the golf tournament, that's where he secured the golf tournament. That's when he won right there.
Yeah.
Because it could have certainly went sideways there on him, and he could have put a bigger number up there, But he just cool and calm, and the thing that got me is all week the announcers were ragging on him for using the putter from off the green, and then they said, well, what's he doing there? At least he could hit that ball, and he just calmly just dropped it over there and banged it out in the fairway, took his 5, and went to the next hole and put an eagle on the board. That say, shut up,
Well,
Johnny Moore.
his course management
But
really
see,
is
I
amazing.
was really struck. That business putting from off the green is a trick that I see women do a whole lot more than I see men do. And when he started doing it, I thought, oh, his little chipping isn't working today. But that wasn't it at all.
Well, he's
really
never been a
putting-
great chipper. He's never been a great chipper of the golf ball.
Well, it seems to me that keeping it low and keeping it on the ground was the right strategy. We'll see how the women do that.
Yeah, that's next week for sure.
It's only tomorrow.
Tomorrow starts tomorrow.
If we get on to talk about some of the other well, I say contenders, they were contenders to second place. Ricky Fowler, Eric Compton. Eric Compton, an amazing story. If anybody doesn't know, the double heart bypass, wasn't it?
No, heart transplant.
Heart transplant. Sorry. Even more incredible story. And just he's a decent golfer, and it's a great story. I mean, to be at that stage of a tournament, when you're thinking you're not even going to see the next day.
Kind of puts things in right perspective, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know myself, along with I'm sure a bunch of fans were. I think by the time they got to the back nine, it was pretty much done that Keimer was going to win the golf tournament, and I was rooting for him to come in second so he'd get a Masters invite and all the good things that come along with the second place finish, and I think a lot of fans were rooting for him.
Yeah, and it would have been easy for him to go out on Sunday, the enormity of the situation, and shoot a 76, 77, and just drift away. But he didn't, and he played very well throughout Sunday.
Yeah, he
I
did.
thought I thought he was just absolutely heroic. I mean, I was hooked into Compton a whole lot more than Keimer. I just hold him in such high esteem.
Yeah.
My God, what he did! What an accomplishment!
And he's playing this week at the Travelers.
I don't have time to watch him this week.
No, neither do I.
Well, there was some fairly good rounds there on Sunday. Keegan Bradley played pretty good. Jim Furyk played well. Henrik Stenson, Stenson couldn't make any putts. His putter is just dead, and him and Phil are in the same boat. I mean, the putter just isn't doing anything for him. But he was in the thick of things, and he just started playing sloppy. And Pinehurst number 2, if you're playing just a little bit sloppy and not paying attention, it will quickly bite you. And
Yeah.
I think he was 3 or 4 over by the end of the day, and that well out of the any type of a chance.
I mean, you look at Ricky Fowler. One thing I do want to say that I'm extremely disappointed that we didn't see the orange +4s on Sunday.
Well, I think it was one. I think it was a one-round deal with for Thursday that he cleared that with Payne Stewart's family, and
Right.
and I think that was one day only.
Yeah. Well, he played. I mean, this new swing with Butch Harmon, it's certainly paying dividends now, isn't it? I mean, he
Yeah, he just started Sunday too far back, just like everybody else,
Yeah.
to really have a chance. I mean, he was playing with the leader, and it's certainly double bogey made it 4 to help, but I thought he played very, very, very respectable, considering
Yeah, I
how
mean,
far back he was.
yeah, very much so, and to come second in the U.S. Open is a great achievement, especially to. I mean, this week is unique when you consider that if Keimer hadn't have been in the field or he'd been well down the field, how many players would have had a chance to win on Sunday?
It would have been a very exciting golf tournament had that been the case, because there were a lot of big names well within striking distance of 1 over par or even par, which is what
Yeah.
they had on that golf course in 99 and 2005. It was, I think, 99, Payne Stewart won at 1 under, and Michael Campbell was even par. The 265s on Thursday and Friday, that was the end of it.
Where would you say those rounds rank? Because they were certainly the lowest ever at Pinehurst in the US Open, but very few players have ever shot under 65 at US Open.
Well, it ranked first because I think Rory McIlroy was tied with somebody for 131, and Keimer come in at 130, so he beat that average by 1 stroke. But sometimes you get par 71 and par 72 courses in the U.S. Open, so what do the numbers really mean? Other than he played really well on Thursday and Friday and built a lead.
Really. To hold on, and not just to hold on, but to extend your lead over the weekend from 6 to 8 shots is really amazing. And now he's won the Players' Championship. He's won the US Open. He's almost certainly the Player of the Year, unless he does something poor between now and the end of the season.
I don't really think he's done yet. I mean,
No, I don't.
If he puts that kind of performance together at Valhalla, we might be talking about him again.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
So
carry on.
I just he kind of backed in, and we've talked about this before. He kind of backed into that victory at Whistling Straits, and when he won the PGA, he kind of got a gift from Dustin Johnson. But these two wins in the States this year have been legitimate Martin Keimer wins. You know.
Yeah, I would agree. So obviously we began the week talking about Phil Mickelson, and it seems only right to end the week talking about him, but he didn't have a very good weekend.
No, his putter.
I actually posted something on Facebook which Elizabeth laughed at. But wouldn't it make such a great fantasy story?
It would.
When he's 46, the same age as Jack, at the same place that Johnny Miller shot 63, to do the Grand Slam, it's a story made in heaven.
And Hollywood.
Yes, yeah.
It is a Hollywood story.
Yeah.
I told you then, and I'll tell you again. You really need to get some rest.
Well, he's trying to keep up with the soccer and the golf at the same time, so I imagine he's probably wore out.
Yeah, plus a 14-hour journey on the bus. Yeah, I'm pretty tired.
Hey, you guys are really quiet about Rory and Adam Scott. What's the story? You're just not going to talk about them?
Well, I'm not a real huge Adam Scott fan, but I had Rory in my fantasy picks, and I think Rory just isn't quite back yet. He's playing well, but he doesn't have the killer instinct he had when he won the Congressional a couple of years ago. He's not there yet, and he's not where he was when he won the FedEx or the Race to Dubai a couple of years ago. I think
I would agree. And if you're marginally off at Pinehurst, you're toast, aren't you? I mean, Keimer played great golf to shoot 9 under for the week.
Yeah,
he played great golf. In any other tournament, he would have shot 20 under on an easier golf course. So, I think Rory, he was just off. He played very well on Saturday, and just the odd misjudgment which called him out. And I think at the US Open, he's won the US Open, he's won the PGA. I think Hoylake, if it's calm, could be the Open venue he's most likely to win at, other than St Andrews, because it does play into his hands slightly, being the type of course it is. So I would say that, yes, it was a disappointing week for him because he didn't win, but he didn't really have a disastrous week.
No, and I think personally, this year is about coming back and reestablishing himself.
Yeah.
And maybe next year he's going to be, a real contender again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count him out in Kentucky, but I mean, I wouldn't count Rory McIlroy out of any tournament because he's like everybody else. If he plays well enough that he just needs to get hot with his putter to actually win.
Definitely, and we saw at Wentworth, if he does start to get on a roll, he can certainly take the title of any tournament, and Valhalla may be a good place for him to do that. But I thought it was a great US Open. Yes, we didn't really have a dramatic finish, but what we had was a performance that certainly I'll remember for a long time, and it's right up there with the very best ever seen. And from a European to do that in America is pretty special.
Yeah, he was the first German, right? He's the first German to win and he's the first in a bunch of years from continental Europe to win.
Yeah, it's an astonishing performance and one that should be praised to its fullest. So, the golf course did take on a bit of a frightening look over the weekend, particularly on Saturday. Now, if you look at all the interviews that the USGA have done with the various star players this week, all of them, to a girl, have embraced the challenge. They're looking forward to it. It's something different. Nobody's mentioned a winning score, which I'm glad to see, because it doesn't really matter what the score is that wins the tournament. But I think they've all embraced it. They're all going for it, the challenge. And it should be interesting. And I just want to start by we're talking about Lucy Lee and that pretty amazing interview she did. It was at times it was hilarious, I have to say. But 11 years old, I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling to see her up there on the stage, speaking to the media, playing in the US Open. It really is incredible. And to think this is Lexi Thompson's 8th US Open.
Yeah. And she's only, what, 19?
Yeah. It's absolutely remarkable. But it's going to be a great week. I think the course, obviously it's going to be shorter, but I'm not so sure that it's going to make it too receptive for them, and I think it'll be...
Well, I wrote in a blog this morning, and I was on the LPGA site that they are considering watering the greens just a little more, knowing that the ladies can't hit it quite as high as the men can, to maybe give them just a little bit of an advantage, but something a little different. Those greens were just monsters on Saturday and Sunday, with no water and no.
So Elizabeth, what are you expecting to see when you get to Pinehurst, and do you think there will be quite a difference between the men's and the women's events?
I actually think it's not going to be that different. The course is shorter, of course, but from what I've been reading about the practice rounds, the women are working very, very hard right now to get a feel for the waist areas and the natural environment. They're actually intentionally hitting out of it, getting ready to take on those greens from peculiar lies.
Yeah.
So I think
that's great.
Yeah, they're going to be ready, and they're talking about the difference between their 5-irons and the men's 5-irons. They're talking about, Paula Creamer was talking about using a 5-wood for approach shots and how that was going to work. I mean, the balls are going to come in lower. I don't know, but that's always the difference between the men and the women. The balls are going lower.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the difference between men's and women's golf. So we can't turn the women into little men. We've got to take the women the way they play golf, and given the limitations of what their bodies are able to do, that's fact of life. But no, in terms of what we see, I would be willing to bet that we're going to see pretty equivalent scoring. I would think so. We're not going to see big red numbers.
No, I think possibly level par will be a good score for the
Well, I said in the beginning of this conversation about the Opens that Pinehurst has turned par into a meaningful score.
Yeah.
It really has.
I think it's incredible to see, because everybody was asked for their comments on Lucy Lee, and it's astonishing to see an 11-year-old playing in the US Open, and obviously she's just said she's out there to have fun. She's not bothered. Well, she's obviously bothered what she shoots, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's more the experience that counts at this stage, and to see the gap between the likes of Julie Inkster, Laurie Davies, and then you have Lucy Lee.
Well, but you know what?
It's finest, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is. It is. And Julie Inkster said that, in effect, today in her interview, that golf was wonderful because she and Lucy Lee could play and compete. That was what made golf fabulous. But, Laura Davies is the one who nailed it. She said, because there's been a lot of chit-chat about 11, and Stacey Lewis is negative about it and thinks that Lucy's parents should have even kept her from attempting to qualify, and 11-year-olds don't belong there. And I mean, Stacey was just all over it. But Laura Davies said, well, you know, if you can qualify, you are old enough or young enough to play in the Open. So she covered both bases. If you can meet the standards, you can play. I'm kind of disappointed that about the chatter on Lucy Lee's age. She's amazing and she's young, but the debate about whether or not she should play.
Of course she should play.
Of course she should. I mean, it's misplaced.
Yeah.
That the issues that Stacey Lewis is bringing up are totally misplaced.
Well, Stacey Lewis always has something to say, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah, I know.
She does. I mean, I saw an interview with her prior to an event where she was talking about the big three in women's golf, and including herself, and I thought that was a very arrogant thing to do, because usually a golfer would not behave in that manner.
Well, who were the other two, Matt? Who were the other two in the big three, according to Stacey? Do you remember Imby and who?
Imby Park and possibly Suzanne Petson at the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a big 10 now. It's
well, she's been talking to Patrick Reed. You know, he's one of the top 5 golfers in the world. So.
Oh, naughty.
What did Patrick Reed shoot last week? I think he missed the cut, didn't he?
I'll tell you, the guy that really disappointed me was Bubba Watson. I mean, he went back to his old ways of, I don't like this golf course. I'm going to shoot my first 36 holes and I'm going to go home and I'm going to, you know, what an attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have any women like that. I'm not sure. You may know better than me, Elizabeth, but I think they're all embracing the challenge, and I think because it's a one-off as it stands, it's such a great opportunity for them all. So I think they're all gonna be in a good mood until Friday night at least.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Thursday morning, actually. Hey, and let's look at it. Let's look at it like this. You know, Lydia Ko's only 5 years older than
yeah,
and she's ranked 4th in the world now. So, boo-hoo.
Oh, well, there's also something which I saw today, and we have to discuss this. Charlie Hull is not in the field.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a She missed the qualifier in England. She was playing in the United States. Qualifier.
How can she not be in the field automatically?
Well,
she's in the Solheim Cup team that won in American soil.
Not only that,
that
doesn't count. That's exactly right.
It should
but
count.
What? But the Byram Cup, she won that.
Yeah.
Now, shouldn't that have put her in?
I think so, because the USGA and women's golf in general needs the best field from around the world. And for her not to be in this field seems absolutely amazing. Well, she came second on the LPGA not a month ago. So
yeah,
but you just said the right words a minute ago. It's the USGA running this thing, and,
yeah,
and
sure,
if it was the LPGA running it, she'd probably be in the field.
Yeah, yeah. The USGA need to address their qualifying criteria, because for her not to be there is a big disappointment, because she should be.
Well, but they've got some other LAT players who were exempted. Nocera, for example.
Yeah.
Gladys Nocera. So I don't know what the story is. I was surprised also, but I saw this interview that Carla gave where she talked about that, and she just was kind of casual about it and said, you know, she chose to play in whatever event she was playing in in May when the qualifier was being held in England, and you know, she looked at the camera and she laughed and said, there are going to be a lot of U.S. Opens for me. So you know, Charlie's kind of casual about these things.
Yeah, it seems so, and obviously the other U.S. Opens won't be Pinehurst number 2 at the moment, so But
Ah,
I feel like it's a shame that she's not there, just from a golfing point of view.
well,
Not
it
from her
is.
point of view, but from our point of view, it would be nice to see her
I would like to
challenging.
see Charlie Hall and Lydia Ko and Minji Lee
Yeah,
face off against each other. I would
definitely.
like to see that.
So for you, Elizabeth, what's the thing you're looking forward to the most this week going up there?
Um, at a personal level or at a
Oh
fan
yeah,
level?
at a personal level and a fan level.
Well, at a personal level, this is a huge step for me because I've been kind of hanging around the fringes, writing what I want to write about and saying what I want to say, and you guys have tolerated me and nurtured me and mentored me, and now I'm going to have to flap my tiny little wings and and stand up on my own 2 feet and prove that I have what it takes. When Les first lured me into this, the email that he wrote me said, "Do you want to find out if you have what it takes to be a sports writer?" And I thought, whoa. I mean, I thought that was very strong, but I kind of took the bait. And now we're going to find out if I do. We really are. So
Oh,
I'm,
you certainly do. The preview you wrote was absolutely fantastic.
well, but that was, books on the desk and,
Yeah,
oh,
but it's not too different, I wouldn't say, because you're using your mind rather than a book when you're there. That's the way I approach it.
so
Um,
but we'll see. We'll see. We,
And
Les,
and the interviews are key.
yeah.
The interviews are key.
but
Make
I've
sure you got the
never done
interviews right.
this, Les. I have a little
It's in the
tape
book.
recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that test of me,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's always, and then I'm just so excited to be able to be a witness to this particular Open.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's amazing for a number of reasons because it's paired with the Men's Open, because it's the first Open that's actually engaged officially the international golfing community with its qualifiers. It's for international
Yeah.
qualifiers, and I see it as a tremendously big step for the LPGA and for women's golf in general. That opening up, and so the fact that I'm going to be able to kind of be a part of that
Yeah.
is a good thing for me. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to it. And then I'm also looking forward to seeing the store. I'll send you a bill, Matt. The
I'll send it to my business partner.
I'm going to get hats for all of us.
Oh,
All right.
fantastic. Fantastic. I look forward to it. So, what were you going to say, Liz?
I
No,
I said who's going to win?
Yeah, who is going to win?
you think just because I'm the girl and I'm going that I know? I believe it. I said this last week, didn't I? There's going to be a playoff.
All right, so who's going to win the playoff?
Creamer. Creamer's going to win.
Well, I've got a good feeling about Lexi Thompson. I think she displayed everything she needed to at Graf Nabisco, and I think if she can drive it as well and hit her irons as well, she's going to be there at the end.
Well, in fact, Casey Wittenberg sent her a text message and said, don't worry about the native area. Just go ahead and hit your driver.
Yeah.
And we know how far she can hit the ball, so.
Yeah.
But can she chip? And can she putt from 15 feet off the green? The big key to playing Pinehurst #2 is the misses. Where do you miss the green at? And that's the key. If you miss it, Martin Keimer missed it all week in the right place.
Yeah.
and he knew what the right place was and what the wrong place was.
Well, who's got the short game? I think it's Paula Creamer.
I think the good thing from my point of view, from looking at this, the women were there on Sunday. They had their first practice run on Monday. They really have had 2, 3, 4 days even to prepare on site, ready for this tournament. And I think it's as the whole season has been, this US Open is going to be absolutely fantastic. And I do think we're going to see a very close finish come Sunday. I think 5 or 6 players in with a chance of winning.
I actually took Jessica Korda in this tournament, and the reason that I took Jessica Korda is she plays regularly on a Donald Ross golf course and is somewhat familiar with his type of design, if you put it that way. So that was the reason I picked her.
Well, nobody's picked Envy. Nobody's gone with Envy.
No, but that would be like picking Henrik Stenson or Rory McIlroy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can Envy Park putt from off the green as well as she putts on the green? And it really boils down to being able to make 10 and 15-foot putts for par to win this golf tournament.
Yeah. Which is something which Keimer did very, very well last week.
That's exactly what Martin Keimer did. He made every putt that he had. He missed 19 of 27. He had 27 misses in the week of not hitting the green, and he got up and down 19 times. So that's what it takes to win.
That's really phenomenal.
And some of those up and downs were 15 and 18-foot putts. So. By the way, I got one question for the group.
Yep.
Did any of you see the video that was posted on the golf community yesterday about the possibility of Martin Keimer hitting the ball twice out of one shot?
No.
Yeah, it was posted yesterday. Somebody posted the video of, and I think it was the 13th hole.
Okay.
When he hit out of the native area away from the wiregrass.
What was it? A double hit?
Some people were saying, yeah, it looked like a double hit, and a lot of the people said, well, you know, if Keimer thought that he had hit the ball twice, he would have said something, you know, and he never said anything. Well, then a couple other people said, well, is he that credible? I'm thinking, well, you know, he would have won by 8 shots instead of 7, or 8 shots instead of 9, or 7 shots instead of 8.
Yeah.
If he felt like he hit the ball twice, he would have said something because he had plenty of strokes to
Sure he did.
to say, hey, I hit the ball twice, or I think I hit the ball twice. So I was just curious if y'all had seen the posting on.
No,
it's
I
on the
haven't
golf.
seen it.
It's on the golf community. It was posted yesterday. There's a video on there with 3 or 4 shots of it in slow mo of his club going through the hitting area.
Yeah. Well, I'll have a look at that.
Have a look at it.
I think that we ought to just let it pass. I mean, my God, hitting out of that stuff, you're not even even in slow mo, you're not gonna get a decent. I mean, those clubs are bouncing around all over the place.
Well, that's the point, and I felt like if he hit the ball twice, he'd have said something, and you know, they've already made the ruling that if you got to have super high def with super slow mo to see something, it just really didn't happen. You know, I think that's great. I
think if we get into that sort of area where we're absolutely using the camera to zoom in, you cannot do that for every shot during a golf tournament. So it's unfair on the player that happens to be famous enough to be shown. So I think.
Well, that brings. Speaking of that brings another question to the group. The news came out yesterday that Tiger was hitting full shots in his practice routines. Is he going to make it to Royal Liverpool or not?
I don't think so. We're 4 weeks away now.
No, I mean, he's hitting full shots.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
he won
different
the
too.
and he won the last time he played Royal Liverpool. So
Yeah, but there's I'm tired of hearing this now. He's won on so many different courses, and he doesn't win. He doesn't. He
well,
doesn't. You
he's
know?
won a Valhalla too, hasn't he?
Yeah. So he'll come back for that, thinking he's going to win, and he won't win.
Well, he's never won a Pinehurst, so
Well, no, he's come second twice, or second and third before there. So, and Augusta, he's done pretty well at as well, hasn't he? So,
oh yeah.
um,
Guys.
no, I think we won't see Tiger back until sort of October, November. He'll play a
Does,
few events at the start of the wraparound season just
does
to get
does
himself in shape.
does he play in the Ryder Cup?
No chance. I just don't see it. There's so many Americans in good form, and he's a divisive team figure, I would say, from the outside. And I don't think that Tom Watson has any sort of relationship with him. So,
Well, Tom's already said if he wants to play, he's on the team. So
well, I find that extraordinary. But go ahead and select him because our boys are in good form.
I'll tell you what. Go down to the local betting shop and take out a 10-pound wager that says Tiger Woods will play in the Ryder Cup and put my name in it.
Oh dear. So it's going to be a fantastic week at the US Women's Open this week, and
It is.
Elizabeth will be there for us, covering the event, and you'll see nightly postings from her on the day she's there, and more coming up in the magazine and online as well. And I'll be alongside Elizabeth. Anything I get from the USGA and other musings that I have about the event, and then next week is the BMW International Open in Cologne, which I'll be there for, and we'll have extensive coverage of that event, including the Pro-Am, a guide to the golf course, a guide to the city, giving you a feel of what a European Tour event is all about. So, and we're getting closer, obviously, to the Open Championship as well.
I've got Henrik Stenson there.
For the Open.
No,
for
the
BMW.
BMW.
Yes, it's a great field. It's a great field. But we'll be having hopefully a hangout. I think we were discussing Sunday morning, Elizabeth.
I think Sunday morning is good.
Yeah. So for me, I would say probably 3 to 4 p.m. our time. So it would be 10 a.m., 11 a.m. your time, which I think would fit.
Yeah, that might be a little bit late in the day.
Right.
I was thinking between 9 and 10.
Yeah, well, we'll sort it out.
We'll sort that out, yeah.
But we will be having a hangout at some stage live from the media center at the US Women's Open. And then next week, Tuesday tea time will return to its normal time on a Tuesday. But I'll also be live from the media center in Cologne. So it's 2 busy weeks, and hopefully you'll join us over the weekend and next week to have another fun chat with myself, Les, and Elizabeth, and hopefully John, if technology allows.
Technology allows.
So for myself, Elizabeth and Les, it's good night.
Cheers, man.